Dominic, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to another episode of Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 8, Nebraska. So, in last episode, we opened up the barn. We saw it was full of Walker. We saw it was full of Sophia, Carol's daughter. So, what is really cool here is that there's a reaction, and you can kind of see that the group of Rick is more used to it than the group of Urshel, and that's normal because, sorry, I left cheese open, because they've been seeing it more. So you see that they're starting to get like warming up to it, and there's a discussion with Lori about Carl afterward that proved that the group of the Greens with Maggie, Beth, Patricia, Urshel. I don't even know the name of the name of the son. I'm so tired. So yeah, so we're seeing a big, um, like a shift, right? We're seeing Shane and Urshel fight. How Shane, you believe he was right, and it's kind of cool because a lot of people think that Shane was right in the group, right? But then a lot of people are arguing with Rick, are agreeing with Rick that it is their host, so they should allow it, right? So it's it's weird because you got like a group following Ring and a group following Shane. I'm sorry, I'm not making a lot of sense, right? Versus Green is new. Urshel versus Shane, yeah. Carol versus Dwight, because it's I do love Carol in this episode. She's telling Daryl how now Sophia, she was afraid that she was afraid that Sophia was scared. She was afraid that she was suffering. She was afraid that maybe she got wounded. Maybe something happened to her. Now that she knows, she have closure, and this is true because she doesn't have closure, and at least Sophia didn't suffer. And then Daryl's like, no, 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 you cannot give up on her that easily. And Daryl know that she's a zombie, right? But she's still Sophia, so there's this whole mentality of, sure, it's easy to kill, um, Walker when this episode is amazing. It's easy to kill Walker when we don't know them, but when we do know them, it's harder. And like a couple of scenes later, you got Lori and Carl talking, and Carl says, "I wish I was the one that saved Sophia." Right? So it goes into the, oh, I wish I could find her. I could have brought her back. Then it shifts to a, oh, I wish I was the one that killed her. That did the right thing. And you can kind of understand Carl because that's a freeing, that's closure again, right? But it's the fact that he was willing to kill his best friend, and Lori's like, no, 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 you shouldn't be killing your best friend, right? You're a kid. But then Rick is like, yeah, but my son needs to grow up. He needs to understand that this world is, it's, and it's amazing because later on, Carl is a direct reflection of Carl and Rick. So, for example, she's a direct reflection of Lori, who still want to live. It's hard, dude. It's hard because I believe that Lori still wants to live in the past world, and Ricky's eager to see the new world. So, when Carl is being progressive and accepting the new reality, Lori brings him back, right? And we're seeing Lori constantly fuck ups. Like she gets into a wreck, she acts reckless, and she still live in the last world. Like in the last world, if she got pregnant, right? She would have never taken those pills. Since it's a new world, she's like, nah, I don't want to raise a baby in this world. And you can kind of understand that she's still hanging on to this world, but no matter what she does, she's not going to be able to bring it back, right? There's 11 seasons. Let's say there's a year between seasons. I say 11 years we're seeing in the apocalypse and nothing is fixed, right? So I think Rick is right here, but I can't blame Lori for missing the good times. It's tough. She gave okay, nice group reacting. Dwight, because she get hooked. Car's out with Sophia, wanted to free her. Lori freaked out. It freaks her out because she's like, Lori freaks out that Carl does that because he's saying, dude, he's becoming cold. He's becoming cold-hearted. I don't think Carl is becoming cold-hearted. Maybe he's becoming a bit less sensitive. But I think Carl is becoming somebody that understands that shit needs to be done. If this nobody does it, nobody's it's not gonna be solved itself. Which is a mentality, sadly, that it's kind of right, right? Carol versus White because she gave up Sophia, Lori, till Shane. Yeah, they all talked about they all tell Shane like, "Yo, you're a bad person." And it's something we saw in the last episode, and how Shane is dangerous. And I kind of, I love Shane, but I kind of agree with Dale here because Shane is becoming something that is extreme. I understand his needs for survival. I understand to put the group first, but if it is to to dehumanize yourself. Like, w- the problem with Shane is if he continues like that, he's gonna become like a second governor, and the governor was technically a bad guy. And sure, it was a bad guy because he was against our group, but it was a bad guy because he was a fucking dick, right? And Shane is turning into that, and uh, you cannot blame Shane for becoming like that because Shane, um, Shane action or reaction are directly linked to the group weakness. The weaker the group, the more Shane has to push. Shane has the balls to say, you know what? I'll carry the weight of the whole group on my back. And there's um Shane tells tells like, yeah, you're an asshole. And I think that Shane agrees. He's like, yeah, maybe I'm an asshole, but I protect the group. What else do you do? Am I more important to the group than you? Then maybe you should be an asshole more. And to an extent, Dale, which being, and again, Shane called him the moral compass here, which he is. And it's all about what the group needs. Right, Dale, they both need that. The problem with Shane and Dale is that they're at the extreme. Dale represent moral, and Shane represent like survival. That's why I told that Dale come in and he kind of fuck up the situation because before it was Rick who was kind of like a nice guy in Shane, and Rick had a position, he had authority, he was doing shit. Dale, he's right, he's not doing much. So with Shane, with Rick, like he's not a natural leader. Shane is a leader also. Who you follow? You follow Shane, Rick. You don't necessarily follow Dale, which sucks. Okay, so we have the like Dale nothing. Shane, he's starting to lose it. You can see that he's becoming more and more aggressive. You can tell that he's taking a toll. The responsibility, the constant pressure, is taking a toll on Shane, and it's normal, right? We had another part of Carol versus Dwight. This is continuing the conversation of how she gave up, and Dwight gets Daryl. Keep calling it Dwight because I'm watching The Office at the same time. But Daryl is actually doing super good because Lori gives him shit about not helping or not wanting to help, not deciding to help. But he just spent the whole week talking about spending looking for Sophia just for Carol to say, "Oh, I gave up on her." Right? There's this really beautiful moment of Carol here. Ooh, we can kind of see that she's grieving. She's enraged. She destroyed flowers. She destroyed things. It might not be much, but this is the first time we're seeing her angry and not just accepting her situation with Ed. She's accepting the situation with her lost child. She's accepting the situation. She should get mad. That is super important for what's to come. That was like, nah. And it's funny because Lori calls him selfish. And Daryl tells her, fuck you, I'm not selfish. I spent the whole week looking for somebody just for you guys to give up on her the second you see her turning to a zombie. For you guys to shoot her. Right? It's kind of the new to the pandemic. Daryl probably doesn't realize that letting her live might turn might turn into a domino effect, which is 2 people are infected, 3 people are infected, 1,000 people are infected. He doesn't realize that, but still, right? In his case is more Daryl. He wants to be like, yo, um, it wants to be like, yo, somebody else is gonna take care of it. We got Urshel who mourns, and it's super important for what's to come. The scene where Urshel and mourns, it's not really like it's normal. He lost his wife. He has come to this realization. You can see Shane. He shot 3 times into a walker. And that was the part, right? That fucked him up. He started to drink. Beth's in shock. So it's kind of cool again to see the Greens who are in a complete different reaction. For example, Beth's in shock. Herschel is mourning. You got Maggie who's trying to put everybody together, right? And she becomes. Maggie's such a nice character. Um, because of that, Glenn just leave with Rick, and she's like, no, 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 don't leave. You're not leaving. You're not leaving us. You're not leaving, and it's nice because again, it is super important because it does show that she cares about Glenn. That is something we want to see, something that matters, right? We got Andrea picks yo. It's kind of cool because it's really well written. They put the group of the Greens being completely a mess, and then you pick up the bodies, and there's an arm left on the side, arm detached, and Angela goes to pick him up like it's nothing. So it's just to show how desensitized these people are, and it's to do a contract between the survivor and the Green family. So I thought it was super smart. I thought it was really like symbolic, right? We got to Lori tells Rick he's losing Carl. Actually, like I said, Lori tells Carl is moving on. He's becoming less, more and more cold, and Rick in his mind is like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this is the person he needs to be for this world. And the thing is, fuck, it's hard because Rick he knows that Carl's gonna need to have some guts and glory to survive in this world. But then, Lori, she's not wrong. Carl should be allowed to live his childhood. It's complicated. It's really complicated. But at the end, Carl's ended up being a good person, so who cares, right? It tells Rick he's doing Carl. Rick said yes. Okay. Rick give Glenn advice. Oh yeah. So Glenn and Rick are going to town to pick up Urshel, and Maggie's like, no, you're not going. And it's kind of nuts. It's kind of super nuts because if you read between the lines, okay, this is not said in the show, but if you read between the lines, she when Ricky asked Glenn, "Are you coming?" No. Glenn said, "I know where the bar is. I'm coming." And she's like, "No." So she doesn't care about Rick going and getting killed, but she cares about Glenn. So it's kind of this double standard, but it's actually, again, it's super fucking nice. Glenn, he apologized to Rick. He said, "Yo, I knew about the pills. I didn't tell you." And you can kind of feel bad for Glenn because he wanted to do right for Lori, but Lori, she asked him not to tell Rick, or he said, "Oh, maybe it should come from her." So she put him inadvertently in a situation where she had to decide who I prefer. Right? We got oh my god, and Rick answer is perfect, and I totally agree with Rick. I totally fucking agree. This is one of my motto. I'm not mad. You thought you were doing right. As I said multiple times in the past, it's all about if you think what you're doing is right. If your intentions are bad and you're doing something good, then you're a fucking asshole. If your intentions are good, doing something bad, and you're a bit stupid, but you're a good person, right? We got okay, about Glenn. Where am I? Nice. Okay. Rick said yes. He tells him Glenn asks advice about Maggie, and Rick is like, "Yo, you got this." Rick is actually being like a bigger brother to Glenn, and it's funny because Rick and Shane are seen multiple times teasing Glenn, but in this moment he showed that Glenn, "Yo, you're gonna be okay. You're a good person. You're strong. I trust you," and that's beautiful. Glenn advises and accepts story. Shane plus Carol. Oh my god! So it's amazing, dude. You're seeing Shane, and he's supposed to be this big asshole who has no emotion, but then you see Carol, and he's apologizing for Sophia. She's in shock, so he helps her clean up. And he's like, "Yo, I did what I thought was right. I'm sorry, I didn't know she was in there. And I've never done it." And you can tell that he's sorry, and you can tell that he cares about Carol, and he takes care of her, and he's still this sweet guy. He's a nice guy. The world is changing, but there's still this kindness inside of them. So Shane is not totally gone. There's still a chance, right? We got that all fight with Lori. Got Dale, Rick and Dale. Nice. So Rick and Dale here. No. I wrote Dale, but it's Urshel. Uh, Urshel is he started to drink, and then Ricky said, "Yo, we're here to get you." And Urshel is mad at Rick because Rick came from the outside world, and Rick kind of brought the reality of the outside world to their house, and that is bad because again, in a perfect world, Urshel is still in disbelief. Urshel can still be in denial about the situation, right? He doesn't have to care that Rick is a quote unquote good guy. He doesn't have to care that Rick he has his own world. He has his own reality where he's safe. And he's mad at Rick, and then Rick's get mad and say, "Listen, yes, I brought you something. Yes, I brought you misery, but I'm here to help you through it. We can help each other." And it's a beautiful, beautiful fucking thing. Rick and Urshel have been shown multiple times to be the leader of each band. Urshel the Greens, Ricky the Survivor. So they're talking about. Ricky says, "Lo, you can't permit yourself to be strong. Those people, meaning the Green, they look up to you into making choices. Doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. We have to make it believe that there's a situation. It doesn't matter if I believe there's fucking chaos everywhere. I have to give them the hope. I have to give them a chance, because it's the one thing if I give up, it's the entire other thing if the entire group gives up. And it's so fucking nice. It's so fucking nice because, again, Urshel, he was in denial. He wasn't aware that this was going on. And Ricky tells me, yes, your world's fucked up. Time to wake up, old man. Time to accept it. Then we have another group of Survivor. You can tell those guys are trouble. You can tell they're really trouble, and they're asking a lot of questions. And this is gonna be, and actually, they're not being aggressive, they're being passive aggressive. There's this guy who pissed on the floor, showing that he has no respect for authority. There's this guy, the same guy, he asks if there's a cuzzle because he hasn't gotten laid. Basically asking if there's chicks there, so he wants to get laid. This is fucked up. And ultimately, this scene served a huge purpose, serving that, yes, there's other group out there, and Ricky is actually a good group. And it's also serving a purpose to Urshel, saying that there's people out there that might be looking for his farm, and how they might take it by force, and Rick could be of help. So this is super, super fucking important. At the end, Ricky kills them both, and you can kind of see a shift in Glenn's head. Then, because in the last episode, Glenn says, oh, he realized it was dangerous. He's sorry, he realized it's dangerous, right? And it's tough because they're both right. They're both, yes, it's dangerous. Yes, you should be careful, but they have to be, somebody has to do the job, you know? That was the episode. As always, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more. Peace.